right, let's move on to the $200,000 that's in the outside accounts and the 529. So $100,000 in each. I thought of three pretty important factors. So one important factor is just the cash flow timings. Like I said before, we don't know what college is going to cost, but let's just say, you're spending about $30,000 a year per kid. You could say, I'm just going to keep on spending 30 and use that number. Tuition could be 10 to 15,000 if you're in the in-state. So there's all these different things that if we're doing a plan, you got to set some number. In this plan, if you set the number the same, and then the kid can pay some, there's loans, there's things like that. Let's just set the cash flow the same and say it's $30,000. Well, what is that? What are we looking at here? So if you do it for 4 years and you have 3 kids, which is 90,000, that's $360,000. Okay, now we know that. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, I'm already paying $30,000 for the kids. How's that going to change? If I know I have a stable job and my income is only going to go up and a high probability I'm not going to lose my job, then my cash flow really hasn't changed. So using 529s is more of a tax strategy than a cash flow strategy. All right, so a couple of things in 529s. They're for college education, and their rules have gotten a little bit better as far as what you can use on it if they don't use it for college education. One thing is that there's a rule where you can convert into a Roth IRA, so it's not like the money is just lost, but you can only do as much as you can't convert all over instantly. Some of the guidelines are you have to start at 15 years prior. The last dollar is going to be within the last 5 years. And then you can only use the standard Roth IRA maximization. So you have all these different things that I don't want to get too much in there. I'm just letting you know that if by chance you don't use all the money for college education expenses, then there's nothing else that can be done with those dollars. But also there's $360,000 worth of expenses potentially. So that $100,000 is in the 529s, that's going to be used up. So the dollars you have in there, I think are going to be just fine. And if you want to save more because of the tax strategy, then let's go ahead and do so. I also want to put things in perspective. What's the tax strategy? Well, let's just say if you have a short-term investment and you have a 4% growth rate, tax-free, that 4% growth rate, let's say $5,000 for 5 years would be $25,000 at 4%. Tax-free versus non-tax-free, you get about 500 extra bucks. So yeah, you get 500 extra dollars in 4% interest. Example. Another way to look at it is if you have a longer term 529, you have long-term, you're looking at the difference between long-term capital growth rates versus tax-free investment. Your $10,000 of gross, say, there might be in the state of Minnesota up to 22 to 26% gone just because of that capital gain. Because 15% federal, and you'll also have the state, maybe even 20% federal if you're in a really high tax bracket. That $10,000, you might lose, say, another $2,400 of it. So it can be significant to have that tax advantages. I'm gonna go talk a little bit deeper about the cash flow, and this is on, well, how much do I need to have just for myself? I've already got the $2 million, and I saw how that grew and then how it's gonna supplement my retirement and keep my lifestyle going the way I want to. What about, I only have $100,000 that's in non-529 investments. What should I do about those? A way to look at it, and I've seen this in practice, is actually what happens is your income increases, that really does increase your bottom line. So many people that are in this pre-retirement age, their incomes keep on going up. That gives them the ability to save more. In the initial example I showed, the person was able to save $20,000. But if their income goes up 5%, and now there's another, they go from $400,000 to $420,000, they still might only have about $380,000 of expenses. So that means they have $40,000 in year 2. It's been very common that I've seen people, say at 50 years old, not have that much in their outside investments, but those last 10 years, they can really ramp up at because of the higher incomes, and then expenses are gonna continue to decrease. So we already said cash flow to college. We know we can cash flow. We're already doing 30,000. So 529 is a great idea, but it's mostly just a tax strategy. Deeper into looking at, hey, what does 10 years of savings look like? Like I mentioned, if you have 400,000 to 420, now you go from $20,000 to $40,000 of increased savings. And if you keep doing that, so say right now you have $200,000 in an account, you add another 20, add 40, add 60, add 80, and you keep going up the dollar amount. If we use 5% growth rate in salary, 7% growth rate investments, your $200,000 that you have now would be worth $1.5 million. So at retirement, it doesn't look like it does right now. It's gonna look like my 2 million is gonna be 4.5 million. My 200 is gonna be 1.5 million if this happens, which we don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but it's not uncommon that you go from 400 to 420. You have the last 10 years of your working life can be the strongest. And then at that time, each year, kind of look at, all right, am I ready to retire? Am I ready to scale down a little bit with the job? It's always an ongoing process to determine. But if you're keeping things steady, if things can look really good with, yes, put some more money into 529, be careful, don't go over the 360,000, keep saving that $20,000 or more, and it's gonna, and by the time you're retired, you should have good investments.